guys, this is Dave with Audio and Reviews. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Moondrop Droplet. We'll go over what's included in the box first. I was almost going to do an unboxing because the presentation is pretty nice for this price range, but I do want to at least quickly go over what's included in the box. As you can see, we have the IEMs, a soft carrying pouch, one set of foam tips. Here's the box right here. And we also have some 3-body promotional items. As for price, design, and specifications, this is one of Moondrop's newer IEMs and comes in at $50. It has a single full-range balanced armature driver configuration and is terminated with a USB instead of your typical USB headphone jack. And like the Quarks, it has DSP built into the USB interface, and that DSP is how they achieved their VDSF tuning target. The build and design is pretty good. The housing of the IEM is made out of chrome-plated brass. Cable is decent and about what you'd expect at this price. It's a non-detachable cable, and it has an inline mic and volume control, and is terminated in USB. The design is very cool. It's inspired by the science fiction novel 3-Body Problem. I think the actual droplet shape takes after the spaceships in the novel. But yeah, the design is pretty cool. Comfort and fit are also very good, at least for my ears. Usually with this style, I'll wear them in front of my ear, but you can also wear them over your ear as well. Okay, let's talk about the sound of the Moondrop Droplet. But before we jump in, one thing I think I should mention is that I'm not a huge fan of foam ear tips like the ones they supplied. So most of my testing was with my own silicone tips. I was just able to achieve a better seal using the silicone tips than I was with the foam tips. And as far as audio sources, I mainly used my S21 Ultra, but my wife has an S22 Ultra. Yeah, she has a better phone than me. And then we have this old S10 here. And then I was also able to use my RS2 and another DAP that I have. But now going back to the sound of the Droplet, like Moondrop's other recent release, the Quarks, the Droplet also uses built-in digital sound processing to achieve what they call their VDSF target. Okay, so let's break the sound down just a little bit further. We'll start with the bass. The overall bass quantity is elevated and is actually a touch more than what I generally prefer. However, in terms of pure tuning, it's actually decent. And again, just to remind you, this is a single BA driver handling all of the frequencies, and we know that bass is not necessarily a strength of balanced armature drivers, especially when it comes to dynamics. And again, while the tuning of the bass is okay, it lacks in dynamics and impact. So unfortunately, you're not going to get to experience that physical or visceral sensation that a dynamic driver might offer. However, you do get good control and speed. Now, in regards to the transition from the bass into the mids, it's not bad. However, I did hear a little bit of bass bleed. So just to kind of summarize the bass, it has good extension, good tuning, good speed and control, but lacks slam and impact. And again, there is a little bit of bass bleed into the mids. Now, as you move from the mid bass into the lower mids, you have just a small amount, again, of that lower mid presence, which adds a touch of warmth to male vocals and instruments. Then as you move into the mids and upper mids, things stay relatively unchanged until you get to about 1K, and it starts to gradually increase until you hit 3K. In terms of mid-range levels, I would say overall, it is slightly recessed relative to the bass and treble levels. As for mid-range detail, I would say it's about average. Not bad, but not great. I've heard better at this price. Now, as you transition from the upper mids into the treble, you have a gradual rise that peaks out around 3K. And then from that point forward, throughout the rest of the treble frequencies, things start to decline. So while that 3K presence does help give a little more energy to some guitars and female vocals. Because of that gradual decline after 3K, instruments like cymbals, tom and snare strikes, also some higher stringed instruments can have a slightly darker or smoothed presentation. Now, hi-hats and cymbals still maintain adequate amounts of detail and sizzle, and because of that more relaxed approach to the tuning, the Droplet is fairly easy to listen to for longer listening sessions, so it never becomes fatiguing or sound piercing. As for treble detail, I would say it's about average and is adequate. I have heard, again, better at this price, but it's still about on par with a lot of other IEMs in this price range. There also isn't much treble presence, again, after 10K, so the Droplet lacks just a little bit in the air category. Now, as for technicalities, I would say the Droplet, again, is about average in this category as well. So the soundstage is about average, even bordering on intimate in my opinion. Instrument and separation and imaging is pretty good, and for the most part, instruments are pretty easy to locate within the sound field. They don't quite have the density that I associate with good imaging, but otherwise it's pretty good. It's not bad. So just to kind of summarize my experience with the Droplet, I would say it was just okay. It's not bad, but it's not great either. And the overall tuning, again, is actually pretty good. There just wasn't really anything special about the Droplet. I couldn't find that one unique characteristic that might make my experience a little more memorable. It's just pretty good. Would I recommend it? Well, given the amount of competition at this price range, if I was basing my recommendation purely on sound, then no, because there are just too many other IEMs at this price range that offer better performance. Again, this is not a bad IEM, and it has good sound and is what I would consider to have kind of a safer tuning. But there have been so many great budget IEMs that have hit the market in the last year that it makes it difficult for the Droplet to compete, in my opinion. Now, in terms of convenience, this is a great option if you need to travel light and don't want to have to haul DAPs or USB DACs around with you, then this is a good option. But again, it's kind of a tough choice. If you're looking just for convenience, then sure, I'll recommend this. But in terms of pure sound quality and sound performance, it's really a tough recommendation for me. So that concludes my review of the Moondrop Droplet. Thanks so much for taking the time to watch. If you liked my content, please take a second and hit that subscribe button. Also, if you would please like this video and please share this video. I hope you guys have an awesome day.